Hey everyone. So I'm very excited to talk about this BT15 Numemon support that we're getting. So my first thoughts on seeing the support is that we're going to get like an Armor Rush meets MegaZoo style deck with the new Numemon support. So here's my ideas on how to get the deck going. So just like my Eosmon idea, when I built the deck, I wanted some kind of rookie for me to be able to digivolve into and then promote later on and then swing. And then when I swing, I can just keep getting draws. So the ideas that I'm having with this Numemon deck is that it's very, very rush style focused, very armor purge style, very MegaZoo style in the same deck. But let me talk about the deck more. So the Digimons from EX2. If you have Guilmon, Growlmon, or Gallantmon in name, then you draw one. So I'm thinking about running 12 Guilmons. I had considered running 14. I don't think that we really need 14 Guilmons. But just, right now, I'm thinking 12 is good. So the promo Guilmons, you absolutely need to run the promo Guilmons. When attacking, trigger draw one. So this Guilmon, when it attacks, will draw one. But if it is on the Digimon egg, then it will also draw one. So it will draw two on attack. The good thing about this Guilmon is that even if you don't Digivolve it on Digimon, you can hard play it, and then after it's on the field, and then you attack next turn, you can still get the draw one. This Guilmon X, very good. So I'm primarily running this because I want another Guilmon in name, and Guilmon X Antibody has Guilmon in name, so it still activates Digimon's inheritable when attacking, draw one. So it's just a really nice Guilmon to have. I also like to prioritize this Guilmon just because it has that when Digivolving effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So just in case you want to Digivolve off of your other Guilmons into Guilmon X, you are able to get that low DP deletion effect. So that's also pretty good. This Guilmon is pretty nice. I really like to run this when I'm running a Guilmon based egg when I'm rushing my opponent. So this Guilmon evolves 0 from Guilmon. So I just learned recently, or like months ago, that it's not Digimon, it's Guilmon. So I might be switching back and forth. But 0 from Guilmon. On deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So basically the same thing as the Guilmon X, but then this is when this Digimon is deleted, not when Digivolving. So on deletion, this thing deletes something 3000 DP or less. If nothing is deleted, then both players mill the top two cards of their deck. So technically the milling in this deck is good. It's not too important, I want to say, but technically it is good to mill, just in case you mill your Numemon X Antibody, because you do want that to be in the trash. Okay, so let's get into the Numemons. So there's this Numemon from BT14. On play, by placing one Tamahime Satsuki from your hand as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, one of your Digimon gains Rush for the turn. So this is probably the most important actual Numemon in your deck. So on play, basically it comes in for 3, and they can tuck a Tamahime Satsuki under it, and if it's the only Digimon you have, you can just give this thing Rush. So let's look at Tamahime Satsuki. What is Tamahime Satsuki? So Tamahime Satsuki is this tamer also from BT14. She has this effect: start of your main phase. If your opponent has a Digimon, gain 1 memory. She has this main effect: mind link to one of your Digimon of Numemon or Monzaemon in name, or the Digipolice trait. And then you can place this tamer under that Digimon. So the inheritable that Tamahime Satsuki provides all turns while this Digimon has Numemon or Monzaemon in its name, or the Digi-Police trait against jamming and reboot. And at the end of the turn, of all turns, you can remove Tamahime Satsuki from your sources and then play her without paying the cost. Okay, so let's go back to this. So this Numemon basically comes in for 3. And then you can place a Tamahime Satsuki under it. It gains Rush because you place the Tamahime Satsuki under it. And Tamahime Satsuki gives it Reboot and Jamming. So for 3 costs, if you have a Tamahime Satsuki in hand, you can place her under. And you can rush your opponent for 1 swing with Jamming. And then honestly, the Reboot doesn't really matter too much in my deck. That I'm building. So end of turn, I would just remove the Tamahime Satsuki from under it. So basically for 3 costs, you get 1 rush swing with jamming, and you played the Tamahime Satsuki for free. And then start future turns, if your opponent has a Digimon out, then you gain 1 memory from the Tamahime Satsuki. And then Tamahime Satsuki is just really good for this deck, because since I'm building this deck more on a rush/aggro playstyle, Tamahime Satsuki just gives your Digimon jamming. Mind link to one of your Monzaemon in name or your Numemon in name during your turn, and then you can just wing with jamming, and then end of turn just remove the Tamahime Satsukis, and then the next turn you get more memory to work with. So I think that this is just really designed for a rush style deck. So basically, play Tamahime Satsuki for free with this Numemon. This Numemon is probably the most important actual Numemon in your deck. But when I get to Numemon X, that thing is probably the most important card in the deck. So I will talk about Numemon X when I get to it. So there's this BT15 Guilmons. It has this rule. Its name is also treated as Numemon, so this card counts as Numemon. I believe that this rule box means that it affects all zones, including breeding, but I'm not positive. It's not an actual effect. I think that's just a rule. So I believe that this also works in breeding. Not that it matters in my deck, since I'm not digivolving in breeding into Guilmons. But just want to point it out there that this card is also treated as Numemon. On play, on deletion, by trashing 1 card of Numemon or Sukamon and its name in your hand, one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -1 until the end of your opponent's turn. So it's cool that you are able to play this, trash a Numemon in hand, and then give one of your opponent's Digimon -1 security attack. So it can come in handy. I don't think that's too useful. So I think that these Numemons are just better. Hence why currently I'm thinking about running them at 4. This one definitely at 4. This one is not as useful, so I'm thinking 2 or 3. So right now in the concept, I'm just putting 2. I forgot to talk about the inheritables, but this one gives blocker to anything. Even if it does have Monzaemon or Numemon in name. So this Numemon just gives blocker to whatever's whatever Digimon has it. This Guilmons gives 1 Digimon security attack -1 when attacking until the end of the opponent's turn. So this is also pretty good. So this Numemon from Reboot 1. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck on deletion. Add 1 card of Monzaemon in name and 1 card of Numemon in name among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in A order. So when this Digimon's delayed, then you can just get card advantage. Since you are playing a bunch of Numemons in name and then Monzaemons in name, then it's very likely that you will draw at least 1 card, maybe 2 cards with this. Opponent's turn effect. While this Digimon has Monzaemon or Numemon in name, this Digimon gains blocker. So unlike this BT14 Numemon, it just gives blocker to anything. this Numemon specifically gives Monzaemon in name or Numemon in name blocker. So this is the star of the deck, the Numemon X Antibody. This card is the card that makes this deck very Armor Rush playstyle. Armor Rush in the sense of BT15 Magnamon. So it's not actually Armor Rush, it's like a pseudo Armor Rush, but better for this deck. So let's talk about BT13 Magnamon. So all turns effect, when this Digimon would leave the battle area, draw 1. Then you may play 1 Vmon from your hand or this Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying the cost. So it's similar to this Magnamon, but still I think that the Numemon X is even better than this Magnamon because you are playing the Numemons from trash. So for example, this is better than typical Armor Rush just in case you get DP reduced. Then you are still able to play the Numemon out. So it's not from under, it doesn't have to be played. So I'm not phrasing this correctly, but even if you're DP reduced, you can still play out a Numemon, unlike regular Armor Rush, Armor Purge, because even if this Digimon dies, it has to die. Then you play 1 Numemon from your trash. So I can see that the Magnamon is kind of good too, because it's not even when it's deleted, it's whenever this would leave the battle area. So even if it's placed in security or if it's returned to hand or something, you can still play the Vmon. But for this, it has to die. But I do like this better than that Magnamon, just because you are able to play your Numemons from your trash. So this Guilmon can come in handy, admittedly, because trashing is technically good in this deck. Because you kind of do want this Numemon in your trash for a very specific reason, and we are about to talk about that reason. So, when this Digimon has Numemon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, it gains on deletion. You may play 1 Digimon card with Numemon in its name from your trash without paying the cost. And then, inheritable on deletion, you may play 1 Digimon card with Numemon in its name from your trash without paying the cost. So basically, if this is over a Numemon, they can, on deletion, play a Numemon in name from your trash for free. And then inheritable, when this is deleted, then you can play a Numemon in name from your trash for free. So let's talk about these Monzaemons. These Monzaemons are able to help you recycle your Numemon X Antibody. So let's start with this Armor Purge Monzaemon. Currently, I don't think that this one is really necessary for the deck. I'm just putting it in as a placeholder for now, but I may just remove this and then bump WaruMonzaemon to 4 and then this reboot Monzaemon to 4, because this Armor Purge actually doesn't really help me in this deck as much. So this has Armor Purge on play, so I don't really want to Digivolve these Monzaemons, so they can all Digivolve for 3 on top of the Numemon in names, but I don't really want to Digivolve them. I want to hard play them MegaZoo style. So this one has Armor Purge on play. By placing 1 Digimon card with Numemon in its name from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, gain 2 memory. So you can play this for 7, place any Numemon in name card from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card to gain 2 memory. So you are able to place Numemon X Antibody underneath that Monzaemon. So when this Monzaemon would be deleted, you are then able to play out another Numemon from in name from your trash. So it's basically Armor Purge. So this one I don't really like as much because it has Armor Purge, so then it prevents itself from being, you are able to prevent itself from being deleted. So this one doesn't work too well with the Numemon X Antibody combo, but I should say that this is still good if you Armor Purge, and then you go into this Numemon, the reboot set Numemon. So if you play this Monzaemon, and then you place this Numemon under it, and when this Monzaemon would die, you Armor Purge, and then this Numemon is just on the field for you to attack next turn, or your opponent will just delete it right away. Then it has that on deletion, so it can come in handy. So this Monzaemon is really only good in this deck just to recur this Numemon out. Or technically also this Numemon out because it also has an on deletion. But I would say that this Monzaemon pairs very well with the reboot Monzaemon, or like the reboot Numemon. But I would say that these two Monzaemons, which don't have Armor Purge, pair very well with the Numemon X because they will eventually be deleted, and then the inheritable from Numemon X will just play out another Numemon in name. So it's just really good synergy that you can recur Numemon X Antibody. This is also one of the reasons why it's good to trash cards. I didn't build this deck too trash heavy, but technically this Guilmon is good for the deck just in case you do trash Numemon X Antibody, and then if it's in the trash, they can just hard play these Monzaemons, and then when you play them, then you can tuck the Numemon X under them, and then when they are deleted, you can just play more Numemons out. So this WaruMonzaemon from BT15, on play and when digivolving, by trashing one card of Numemon in name from your hand, then you can digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Oh, trash one Numemon in name from hand or from this Digimon sources, then you digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. So it could be handy. I don't think that's too useful, but it is useful enough. But what's really good is this secondary on play. So on play, by placing one card of Numemon in its name from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, all of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less can't attack players until the end of your opponent's turn. So this one is very good just because you are able to try to rush your opponent down with your deck, but you're also preventing them from rushing you down with their deck. So if you're playing against another rookie rush deck, or if your opponent's just really desperate, they really need to rookie rush you for game or for whatever reason, this is just good because you are able to stall them out a turn, so they won't be able to rush you down as quickly. But I think that the Digivolve 1 is okay. It could be good, but I think that the on-play effect that prevents your opponent's play cost of 5 or less from attacking you is even better. I should note that all these Monzaemons give your Numemon or Monzaemons in name security attack +1. And then this Monzaemon, on play, you can place a Numemon in name from your trash underneath this Digimon, and then you gain 2 memory. And then on play, when digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP and security attack -1 until the end of your opponent's next turn. So I like this Numemon probably the most, just because you can DP minus your opponent's floodgates, like their low rookies. You can just get rid of a Digimon that way. So it's really good efficiency. So for 5 cost, basically, this comes in for 7. You place something like a Numemon X Antibody under it, and then you DP minus 3000 DP on one of your opponent's Digimon. If it doesn't die, then it also gets attack -1. And this is until the end of your opponent's turn. So if they do not get deleted by the minus 3000 DP, then next turn they will be minus 3000 DP and minus security attack 1. So this is really good efficiency for the deck, just because you are able to remove something really with a low DP ceiling, or you can just stall them for a turn. But yeah, when it's deleted, you can just play another Numemon if you tuck this Numemon X under it. So it's just really good efficiency. Monzaemon X Antibody. So when digivolving, if this Digimon has a card with Monzaemon in its name or X Antibody in its digivolution cards, you may play one Numemon or one level 3 Digimon card from your hand without paying the cost. So it's very important that you note that you are able to play your other level 3s, and the only level 3s in this deck are the Guilmons. So in case you don't want to play a Numemon, you are also able to play a Guilmon. So all turns effect when another of your Digimon is played. For each of your Digimon, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2,000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. So just like the other Monzaemon, this is also until the end of your opponent's turn. This card is good. It's automatically like a neg 4,000 DP. Yeah, it's automatically like a neg 4,000 DP on one of your opponent's Digimon until the end of their turn. So you are able to digivolve off of your Monzaemons for 0. And then when digivolving, you can play out a Numemon or a level 3 from your hand. And then for each Digimon that you have, minus 2,000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon until the end of their turn. So it's just really good. So it can be used as removal, which is good. But since this is also a rush deck, you are able to get another Digimon on board for you to rush with next turn. And that's also very good. So not only do you remove something, but you also add more pressure onto the opponent. So I would say that this Monzaemon should be a 4 of. The Monzaemon X should be a 4 of. This Numemon X should be a 4 of. And then I would say that this Guilmon X probably also a 4 of. And then that kind of gave me the idea. I'm running 12 X Antibody Digimon cards. So I kind of wanted to throw in some cool boys. Just because this deck, even though it is like a rush style deck, it surprisingly will digivolve more often into your X Antibody cards than decks that build a single stack, just because of the amount of recursion that you get. For example, when this as an inheritable is deleted from under one of your Monzaemons, you are able to play out a Numemon in name. So let's say you play out this Numemon, for example, and then you have one of these in your hand, then you can just digivolve over that. So it's just more likely that you're going to see Numemons to digivolve into Numemon X Antibody, just because they keep recurring themselves. And as long as you have one in hand, it's very easy to just recur your Numemons, and then you take the one that you have in your hand, then digivolve it onto the Numemon. So it's very frequently that you're going to digivolve into an X Antibody card. That's only the Numemons. But, for example, you also have the Guilmons. They aren't as likely to digivolve into Guilmon X, but, it's still somewhat likely. It's likely as if it were like a regular X Antibody playing deck. But the Monzaemons, since you are hard playing them often, it's very likely that you're also able to digivolve into Monzaemon X Antibody. Like with a single stack deck playstyle, then you won't often go into your level 5s. You might go into your level 5s maybe once, maybe twice in a game, realistically. If it's a long game, maybe 3 times. But just because this deck is more MegaZoo focused, you are playing more of your Monzaemons from your hand for 5 cost, 5 cost, 7 cost. This one is like a bit iffy, but you are still able to play them more frequently than other decks play their level 5s. So this MegaZoo style will let you play more Monzaemons which will also let you digivolve more often into Monzaemon X Antibody. So just because you are playing a decent amount of X Antibody Digimon, and I expect the amount of times for you to digivolve into your X Antibody cards to be a lot, I think that Cool Boy is a good card to have, just because you are able to search for Monzaemon X, Numemon X, or Guilmon X when Cool Boy is played, but when you digivolve into Monzaemon X, Numemon X, or Guilmon X, then you just gain 1 memory and you draw 1. So it's just cool. It's Cool Boy, okay. So Cool Boy is good, but I'm also debating if I wanted to run Analog Youth instead. So the whole gimmick that I think works for this deck is that you hard play the Monzaemon level 5s and you tuck a level 4 Numemon X under it. So we'll have a Digivolution card and it's level 5 or more. So Analog Youth, on play, reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card among them to your hand, trash your remaining cards. So the trashing is also good just in case you do want that Numemon X in your trash. But the alternative effect, when one of your level 5 or higher Digimon with Digivolution cards is deleted, meaning that your Monzaemons, from having tucked the Numemon under, it will be deleted. If you do gain 1 memory, and then you hatch 1 Digi-Egg to an empty space in your breeding area. So it does seem good for more aggro, just because if this is like a rush deck, it will make it more early that you are able to hatch another Gigimon and then digivolve into Guilmon and then swing the turn after. So Analog Youth does add some more aggro to the deck, just because when you digivolve into, or like when you hard play Monzaemon, you get a Numemon under it. And so when that dies, you can then Analog Youth to hatch another Digi-Egg. So I'm debating between Cool Boy and Analog Youth at the moment. Cool Boy gives me more memory, gives me more card advantage, but Analog Youth gives me more aggro. So right now I'm on the fence between the two, but I think that Cool Boy is better than Analog Youth for this deck, just because the amount of times that Cool Boy will proc is significant. So I think that Cool Boy is just better just because Analog Youth won't proc as much, or if Analog Youth does proc, I don't think that its effect is as significantly impactful as Cool Boy's effect to draw 1 and then gain 1 memory when I'm digivolving into the X Antibody cards. Okay, PlatinumNumemon. So digivolve 3 from level 5 of Numemon or Monzaemon and name. On play, when digivolving, by trashing 1 card of Numemon and its name in your hand, gain 2 memory. And then on deletion, you may play 1 level 5 or lower Digimon card of Numemon or Monzaemon and its name from your hand without paying the cost. So this Numemon is very interesting. So you can digivolve off of your Monzaemons for 3, but if you trash a Numemon in hand, then you gain 2 memory, so it digivolves for a net 1. And then when this is deleted, then you can easily play out one of these Monzaemons. So if it's your opponent's turn and then this thing is deleted, which most likely is the case, because you probably won't be deleted on your turn if it has jamming, unless you hit like a security option or something. But if this is your opponent's turn and then this Digimon is deleted, you can play out one of these Monzaemons. You technically could play this one, but I don't really recommend it, or you could play any of your Numemons. But if you play this, when this is deleted, then you can play out one of these Numemons, and then the Numemon comes in, and then if it's one of these 2 Numemons, and then you tuck, if it's one of these 2 Monzaemons, and you tuck a Numemon under it, then you gain 2 memory, which could shorten your opponent's turn, possibly even bring it to your turn. Or it's just useful to just bring one of these out, tuck one of the blocker Numemons under it, so you have a blocker. So that could be something you could do, especially this one. So you can give Security Attack -1 to one of your opponent's Digimon, and also 3000 DP minus. And if it has blocker, then you can basically nullify one Digimon, block one Digimon. So this Monzaemon is just really good. You could also bring out this Garymon to just give something Security Attack -1. But I think that if this dies on your opponent's turn, the best play probably is to bring this Monzaemon out and then give it blocker with this Numemon or this Numemon from your trash. So this will gain you 2 memory, shortening your opponent's turn, and then also give you a blocker, something -3000 DP, and Security Attack -1. So it's just good. Since this does have Numemon in name, and if it digivolves from any of your Monzaemons, so Security Attack +1, Security Attack +1, Security Attack +1, except for this one. But any of your regular Monzaemons, then this will swing for 2 checks at 9000. So it could be useful, especially in a rush deck. And then you can just swing for game next turn, ideally. I also really like the inclusion of Mitamamon. So Mitamamon is basically the Platinum Angel of Digimon. And if you have very few security, if your opponent has very few security, then you basically Security Attack -2 on your opponent's Digimon. Okay, so when digivolving when attacking once per turn by trashing the top card of your security stack, you may play 1 level 4 or lower yellow card from your hand without paying the cost. Then the Digimon played by this effect gains rush for the turn. So this card is good just in case you do need a rusher. So if you have one of these 2 yellow Numemons in your hand, you can trash the top card of your security, play one of these out, and then they have rush. So it's good just in case you do need that extra swing to win the game. But this effect is also pretty good. All of your yellow Digimon gain barrier. Opponent's turn, all of your opponent's Digimon with level equal or more than the total cards in both players' security stacks gain Security Attack -2. So this is very good. Since this deck is really focused on rushing your opponent's security down, they will likely have a very low security count. And then just if you need it, if your security is also low, when you digivolve into Mitamamon, or even if you, on some occasions, just hard play Mitamamon, all of your opponent's Digimon with a level higher than the total security, they just cannot attack you to reduce your security, or they just can't swing for game. So if between me and my opponent, we both have 6 security, then their level 6 or 7 Digimon cannot attack my security to reduce it. They can still attack me, but they won't get any security checks in. If it's very late game, and then after I rush my opponent down, and then they also rushed me down, and then we have like 3 security cards total, then their level 4 and higher Digimon can't attack into my security. So it's just, oh cool, this is like the Platinum Angel of Digimon. If there are 2 or less security cards total between you and your opponent, then all of their Digimon have no security checks. Digimon with a level. So technically, Reaper from EX2 can still attack you for game. The other Reaper cards can also attack you because they don't have a level. But, you know, excluding that one archetype, this is like the Platinum Angel. If the securities are low enough, which will probably be likely because you're rushing your opponent down, then your opponent just can't swing at you for game until they remove this Mitamamon. So this is just really, really great. So here's the idea that I'm kind of thinking right now. You rush for your Guilmons, you draw from attacking. The Guilmons just lets you cheese out rookies for cheap every second turn. So turn 1, Digivolve into Guilmon, and then your second turn, so turn 3, push the Guilmon out, and then swing, and then turn 4, or like turn 5 technically, you Digivolve into another Guilmon, turn 7, you push one out, attack. So it's just really cheap swings that give you more card advantage. So I really like the Guilmon for rush style decks. This Numemon, really good. It just helps you to play the Tamahime for free. Also gives one of your Digimon rush, and then Tamahime innately gives that Digimon jamming. So if you give this one rush and swing with it, then it has jamming. And at the end of turn, you can just play Tamahime for future memory gains on future turns. This is good for stalling out your opponent if necessary. This one is just good for card advantage. I'm debating on the ratios between these two, but this one is probably going to be a 4 of. These are probably going to be 4 ofs. This is definitely going to be a 4 of. This is just inheritable or its own effect if it has a Numemon under it, or if it's under a different Digimon and then it's that Digimon's deleted. You can play a Numemon in name from your trash for free. So it's like Armor Purge, and just because you are able to keep recurring this card over and over with your Monzaemons, then you can just keep quote-unquote armor purging. This Monzaemon I still am thinking about. I might just get rid of it altogether. It's not really useful for the deck, except for, tucking under Guilmon or Numemon. And if you do tuck them under and then they eventually die, then their on deletion effects kick in. But I think that it's not too useful. I might just replace them for more WaruMonzaemons and more Reboot Monzaemons, just because I do want the Monzaemons to be deleted for me to play out more Numemons. But it is really good because I do gain 2 memory from it. So it just might be the next backup for this Monzaemon. So I'm still thinking about these ratios too. Monzaemon X Antibody. So just because I am running 8 Monzaemons, I might lower this card down to 3. But if I do add more Monzaemons in, then I might just keep it at 4. Because this card is really good. You can play out a Numemon or a level 3 Digimon. So you can play... It has to be Numemon specifically. No, Yeah, it has to be Numemon specifically. So you can play out one of your Numemons or one of your level 3 cards from your hand. So you have a whole bunch of targets that you can play out. So 4, 6, 10, 22. You have like 22 cards that this card is able to play out. And then it also gives... It either stalls your opponent or it just removes one of their Digimon entirely. So it gives you more aggro for you to rush with next turn. And it also removes your opponent's Digimon. So this card is just really great. Tamahime, just great. You can just give your Digimon jamming turn after turn after turn. And then start of your main phase, if your opponent has 1 or more Digimon out, then you gain 1 memory. So this card is just fantastic. It just helps you to just get cheap security attacks in and just live, because these Numemons are very low DP. So just tucking it under will give it jamming. So it's just really great. You can also tuck under your Monzaemons or your PlatinumNumemon just in case, for extra assurance. But it's just a really great card. Great. You can just cheese out a Monzaemon or Numemon after this is deleted. And the Mitamamon just helps you to stall if you do need that extra stall. Or it can also be used as an aggressive piece for you to play out one of your yellow Numemons for you to get that extra swing if you need. So it's a really good defensive card and also a really good offensive card, just in case you either need an extra swing in, or if you and your opponent have very few security, then it just nullifies their security attacks on you. And then this cool boy, I'm still debating between this and Analog Youth, but this card seems fun. Just because you are playing a bunch of X Antibody cards, and just because this deck has a higher frequency of digivolving into your X Antibody cards, I think the Cool Boy will proc a lot. So it's just nice to get more draw in, and then also nice to gain 1 memory. I'm thinking about Cool Boy's ratio. I might adjust this later on. I might just take Mitamamon out, for example, and then bump this up to 4, or I might keep it at 2, or I might change it with Analog Youth, or I might just take it out and add some options in, or I might take a Mitamamon to add some options in. So I'm still going to think about it as, it's nearing BT15. But after BT15 comes out, I'll build a deck that's similar to this. Like, the idea is going to be the same, just like mess around with some ratios, might maybe swap some cards around. But yeah, I think that this deck is going to be very fun, very aggro focused. Cheap swings, and then quote unquote armor purge, and then these retrieve your Numemon X Antibody for more armor purging. And then just in case you do need to digivolve until level 6, this helps you to get more blockers if this something dies. And then this helps you to just stall the game. So I think that this is going to be a really fun deck. I'm very excited for BT15, so I will build this when the time comes. I'm also building the Dark Masters deck. So I have some pretty interesting ideas for the deck, and I would love to mess around with it when the time comes out. But, currently we're still missing the level 7, probably Apocalypsemon. We already know what the purple cards are because they have been leaked. Or we know Paidamon. I don't remember what the level 5 was. But, I have the general idea for the deck, but when BT15 is finished revealing itself, then I will upload my concept of the Dark Masters deck, because I think that I have something pretty unique in my build. It might change depending on what gets revealed, but I will definitely upload my Dark Masters concept video when the time comes. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'm going to definitely update this deck once I actually build it, when BT15 comes out. But yeah, thanks for watching.